I'm building a fully functional Baymax robot, and this right here is the start of it. Don't believe me? Well, check this out. Ow!
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion. I was alerted to the need for medical attention when you said, ow.
Pretty cool, right? And this thing can already do so much more, which I'll talk about here in this first video. And my final goal for this project is to have a robot that can fully walk around and talk to people. And most importantly, give out some sick fist bumps.
Ba-la-la-la.
But first, let's start talking about how to actually build this thing. There are three main parts to Baymax: the physical robot itself, the control animation to move the motors around, and the software, which basically acts as his brain. It takes all of that working together to bring Baymax to life. The really interesting and unique stuff for this robot is later in the animation and software sections. I'm saving those sections for the end because it turns out that they're kind of actually really hard to do.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion.
I'm going to be starting with the physical robot first, because in robotics, your hardware is the foundation for everything that comes later. If I don't nail this step, everything later will always look wrong. For example, if we look inside the head at Baymax's neck, this motor moves his head in this direction. If I move that motor up even a few inches, Baymax goes from "aw, cute" to, well, you can see it. And this is the first real challenge of this project, to make my robot head match the real Baymax. And to make sure I got it right, I did a ton of research on how Baymax's head moves and then copied that. The end result was this neck that can move in all three rotational axes. This movement can also be combined to make more fluid looking animations. Combining a lot of different movements like this is usually where animatronics start to come to life. After I finished his neck, Baymax had another glaring issue: his staring problem. Before I added his eyelids, when he was moving around and talking, you were just staring into his black, soulless eyes. So I needed to give Baymax the ability to blink in order to make him realistic, because the real Baymax blinks a lot. So to do this, I designed this 3D printed mechanical linkage that lets two motors control two eyelids. I assembled two of these together and then mounted them inside of the Baymax head, so I can use them to make Baymax blink. And because every eyelid is individually controllable, I can do some more fun things, like give him certain emotions while he's talking. This little feature is making Baymax look so much better already. The last thing I did to Baymax was fix a major issue he had. In my first version, I was kind of an idiot, and the head weighed way more than the base. So he kind of just flopped around like a fish and didn't really move correctly. To fix this, I had to design a new base for Baymax to sit on. Luckily, it was very easy and a simple fix. I designed this slot for a weight and put 5 pounds inside of it, and the whole issue was fixed.
Hey.
And as a bonus, I was able to hide the electrical spaghetti from the first version behind these really sick magnetic panels. And now finally the head was done, and the end result is pretty dang cool. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the animation software. This is what controls all the motors and makes them move in a way that looks good. It's been working behind the scenes in all the previous shots of Baymax, but I want to talk about it more directly now. The animation software I've been using for this is very similar to what Disney Imagineering uses for their animatronics at all their parks. You can set a bunch of different set points for where the motors should be at different times, and the software will fill in the gaps between those for how to move the robotic motors. I have 7 different channels in my software for each of the 7 motors. Specifically for this Baymax project, I am creating a bunch of preset animations that can be run later. These are basically just options the AI can choose to make Baymax move in a certain way. Each option acts as like a button it can push to make the head start to move. So for example, I can make an animation like shake head no, and then the software later can play that animation when it thinks the emotion should be like a negative response. And while I was testing this, many mistakes were definitely made. It's a good thing I made his noggin as durable as possible, or else I might be slamming my head into the desk as well. But after wasting a few days of my life on creating Baymax animations, he now has the ability to perform tons of different movements. But there is still one huge problem in Baymax. He has no backend code and therefore he has no brain. So we need to figure out how to fix that next. To create Baymax's brain, I'm going to take 3 different neural networks and combine them together. You can see in my incredibly nerdy software flow diagram what those 3 different neural nets are for. Speech to text, text analysis, and text to speech. This process takes comically long, so while Baymax is processing, I have different parallel computing threads controlling some waiting animations. This process is actually kind of complicated, and I could talk about it for a while, but I think the best way to actually see what's going on is to show you a conversation I had with Baymax, and then show you where his brain is at with the flow diagram, so you can see it all together. So, here that is.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion. How may I assist you today?
Hey Baymax, is it possible to drink too much coffee?
Yes, excessive coffee consumption can lead to increased heart rate, anxiety, restlessness, and difficulty sleeping. Moderation is key.
Good to know. Do you think I should stop drinking 28 cups of coffee a day?
Yes, reducing your intake is advisable for better health. Aim to drink no more than 3 to 5 cups per day, if possible.
Alright, thanks for your help, Baymax.
I cannot deactivate until you say you are satisfied with your care.
I am satisfied with my care.
I am glad that I could help. Goodbye.
Let's go! This video ended up taking way longer than I thought it would to finish, but going forward I'm planning on publishing every 2 or 3 months. At some point I want to build out the rest of Baymax, or maybe make a new Doc Ock suit, but first I need to see if I can get this channel bigger so I'm not just burning my own money on every project. Alright, that's all I got so far. I'll see you in the next one.